fill out this form here that's in your packet. You can come here and just click through and say, hey, what's the graduation rate? Okay, graduation rate is 91%. Oh, wow, I might need to really consider what they're doing to graduate 91% of their students who enroll. So their overall graduation rate is 79%. So when you account for every student that goes there through every program, you got to understand graduation rates are set by a 6-year term. We know a degree is 4 years, but they give you 6 years to complete it. You got some programs that are 5 years, so that will affect. That doesn't mean that, you know, they're, but you do have some schools that the graduation rate is in the toilet. So that is something to consider. You know, we're just doing informed decision making. And then the last little bit on here, so we looked at enrollment, and it'll show you everything, campus security information. But the last little thing on here we want to look at is your enrollment. And again, we're back at Auburn. It'll show you your breakdown. 79% of their students are Caucasian. So if you can handle that culture, then that's, you know, that's just something to do. If 5% is not enough for you, then you make another decision. All right, thank y'all very much. Any questions? Pretty much covered everything. All right, thank you, President.
Appreciate you. All right, let's keep this thing moving. We got the superstar came in the house. George Bandy Jr. walked in the back there. He's supposed to be on keto. He works for Amazon, but he was a little busy. And so we're going to keep moving forward with Ms. Jaclyn Wright. And so, outstanding administrator. She has a volunteer spirit. She agreed to come here and chat it up with us. Also, speakers have a certificate that my wife put together for you. You may have to leave afterwards. So let's go ahead and get those to you, Preston, before y'all go. Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Hey guys.
Hello.
No pressure coming after all these preachers and college folks and the whole nine. Well, I am, before I start, are there any other principals in the house? All right, so I'm alone. Oh, another principal back in the back. Okay, I see another one, so you can kind of feel the pressure of the year getting ready to start in the whole nine. I am Jaclyn Brown Wright. I am principal of Brewbaker Primary School, where amazing happens for kids. My school happens to be the largest elementary school here in Montgomery, Alabama. I have about 650 students at my school. 40% of them do not speak English. Wow. So we've got a challenge for us. Let's see, what else can I tell you about my school? And I'm going to speak to you guys about truth, but before I get into my truth, I want to tell you a little bit of background about the students that I serve. Is that okay?
Yes.
So, this is my first year, just finished my first year as a principal in a pandemic. Had never done it before, brand new AP, brand new office staff, and all these kids come into the building. 650 of them, pre-K through 2nd grade, y'all. Y'all don't hear me. Pre-K through 2nd grade, and 40% of them don't speak my language. And that means if they don't speak the language, they're not coming with the same background and the same mindset that your children and my children have concerning education. There was a little girl on the first day. Her name was Jacqueline. Is it okay if I walk around? Actually, I just wrote my speech sitting back there in the chair because he didn't tell me what I was going to talk about. At any rate, there was a little girl, Jacqueline. And she came on the first day of school, and she was hysterical. And as a first-year principal, I didn't know what to do. I'd worked in administration before, been a high school assistant principal, worked at central office, never had dealt with the little babies. The little girl, she screamed, and she screamed. Nothing we did worked to calm her down. Finally, I said, well, why can't she just go back home? Virtual school is still going on. The teacher's on the computer, she's teaching the kids in the classroom. We can just send her back home and let her parents tell her, you know, about school and get her ready. Yeah, that was not the right thing to do. It took me a minute to get through the rest of the kids coming in and out of the office on their very first day, but this one child, Jacqueline, that I did send her back home to her parents. That one child stuck with me, and I couldn't let it go because it didn't sit right in my heart. And this is not what I put in my phone to tell y'all about, but it's what's on my heart, and it's my truth. So the little girl didn't leave my spirit. My heart was bothered. Because if I think back to if it was a child that looked like me, that did speak my language, that I could communicate with, that could understand me, then I would have taken a different course of action for her.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave on the first day when the kids showed up to go to her house and ask her parents to beg my pardon. Beg my pardon. I'm afraid your baby's afraid. Give me another chance. They bring Jacqueline back. Jacqueline is still screaming. I won't let her parents leave, but I'm not going to let Jacqueline go back home. Because I don't know what Jacqueline has to experience at home. I'm going to keep her at school with us. I'm going to let her parents go into our parent liaison and make sure that she's settled, that her heart is okay. My heart wasn't okay as an adult in that situation. That's a baby. That is a baby. The truth is, children need hard work. They need leaders. They need principals who care. They need teachers like Miss Ingram. I heard someone speak about Miss Ingram earlier. They need teachers and principals who care. They need people that can advocate for them, and that starts with parents. If you're a parent, you are your child's first educator. We can't do anything with them when you bring them to us if you haven't done anything first, okay? We can just carry on what you kind of start. And we believe that you send us your best every day. But the hard work piece, for some reason, is falling by the wayside. At Brewbaker Primary School, we call ourselves an intentionally inclusive school community. And I put that all on Facebook. Some of the people who are local to Montgomery and know my school know that every post I make is in English and it's in Spanish. Because I gotta talk to all my parents. I need to include everybody. Not only that, we post every day. We celebrate our kids. We celebrate diversity. We celebrate the fact that I am a black school administrator and I don't have all black teachers. I lead people that don't look like me. When you were speaking earlier, somebody else was speaking earlier about unity and what it takes, the oils coming together, all those different pieces of diversity. That's what makes our school such a special place. And because of all these different people are coming together for children, that's what's number one at my school. It has to be. Because we're coming together for children at Brewbaker Primary School, we've really been able to do some special things this year. I told you I was a first year principal this year in a pandemic. Not one soul lost. I ended the first year calling my mama on the last day saying, "Mama, my school didn't burn down and none of my teachers died of COVID."
Okay, good.
Every faculty was not that blessed.
Mm-hmm.
We lost a lot of people here, right here in the city. Not only that, we were able to utilize technology that no other school in this state is utilizing, public, private, or magnet. We utilize artificial intelligence to teach our students how to read. And what does this have to do with hard work and the truth? It has everything to do with it. When my teachers came at the first day of school, August 10th, August 4th, I guess it was August 4th, 2020, when they came, they were terrified. They were afraid for their health. They were afraid because of the unknown. But one thing that we all agreed on was that our kids needed us, and we didn't know how we were going to teach them at the beginning of last year, but we know we had to teach them. And we knew we had to teach them reading, math, science, social studies. But before any of those things, there was one piece, just one, that I asked my teachers to teach. Had nothing to do with standards, nothing to do with lesson plans, objectives, nothing to do with any textbook. Matter of fact, I told them to throw the books away. They were doing a book study, and I'm not knocking book studies, but we didn't have time for it last year. We had to teach kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we did.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, I told them to throw the books away, and I charged them to teach one thing, and that one thing was hope.
Mm.
You will teach hope before standards this year. You will teach hope to children who need it. You will remind parents who are frustrated in their homes with children they've never had to teach before. You will teach hope to parents. You will teach hope to each other. And not only that, because we're entering this school year on the heels of the George Floyd murder, and you're a black and white faculty in Montgomery, Alabama, you're going to represent the best in humanity before meeting these children every day. I don't care what your political affiliation is in this year when we were electing a new president. I don't care what that is.
Mm-hmm.
When you come into Brewbaker Primary School, where amazing happens for kids, you gotta shake that all
Mm.
off. In the same way I have to shake mine off. What matters most inside of our school is children. And everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. When I would first say, and I'm this new principal coming in, I worked at central office here before, so I'm kind of coming back home. I started my career here 20 years ago as a teacher in this district. It was hell. It was hell. Y'all laughing. It was hell. I've had to speak some truths while my voice shook, but kids matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to champion causes greater than myself because kids, they matter to me. When I found out Wardell was doing something for my profession, that I hold dear to my heart. See, I never wanted to do anything other than be an educator my whole life. My grandmother graduated from Alabama State in 1954, 50 years before I graduated with my master's degree from Alabama State. So this is a legacy,
Mm-hmm.
a life's work for me. So I'm not seen as a normal educator. I don't see children. I don't see students. They're my kids. They are mine. And I expect our teachers to treat them the exact same way. So the truth is, not what's in text and all quotes that I looked up about truth. The truth is very simple.
Mm.
The truth is that children need hard work. And as I go to my seat, I champion you to find out that there is truth to every single thing that I said up here about Brewbaker Primary School. Within 1 year, my school, my teachers, our students, and their parents, they took our reading data from 18%, which is one of the lowest reading proficiency rates in this entire city, to 34% in a pandemic. That's 16%. That doesn't happen. I studied reading and the science of reading and reading data for over 20 years now. That type of growth doesn't happen, and our kids did it in a pandemic. And the only difference was we taught hope before standards, and we believe in hard work at Brewbaker Primary School, where amazing happens for kids. Thank you.
Hold on, stay right up here for a minute, right? See, y'all can see now kind of why we putting this thing together. You know, right? Everybody bringing it right. I mean, the pastors, inspirational to educators. I hope principals seen that. I saw Dr. Wright back there nodding her head several times when Mrs. Wright was speaking. And so, Mrs. Jaclyn Brown Wright is the recipient of our very first.
Somebody got to take a picture. You look like you didn't get some hands.
Ms. Jaclyn Brown Wright is the very first recipient of our Greeks for Education, Penny E. Brock Volunteer Educator Award. And that's named after my paternal grandmother, who was a one-room classroom teacher back in the day. And we started the foundation, right? And she's a part of it, and we want to just congratulate her. What comes with this is a voucher as well for a technology purchase, once the receipts come in later. We'll divvy that up, we'll work with Mrs. Wright in the future, and we'll see what her school needs, whether that's a smart board, whether that's audio-visual equipment, Greece for Education, will try to be there for her endeavors. So let's give Ms. Wright another round of applause. Outstanding. Thank y'all.
Take your mask off. Take your mask off.
Do what? All right, great. All right, thank y'all. So, all right, so we're gonna keep this thing moving. The speaker's leaving now. Go ahead, Ms. Bo.
But before she leaves, I would like to make a statement.
Go ahead, Ms. Bo.
You were fantastic just then. You were fantastic just then. I am so very interested in making some changes in the way Alabama is doing things, that I want to put this in your mind, and maybe you can help lead me where we need to go. I'm concerned because the state of Alabama has this new rule about third graders not reading on grade level, having to repeat the grade. And you
address it at my school.
And you said that you have pre-K
Through second grade?
through second grade.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to the research, those students who participate in pre-K read and do math better in all levels.
Yes, ma'am.
So how can we change the emphasis from repeating the third grade to getting pre-K universal in our school system? What would we need to do to try to emphasize your program with pre-K and the hope that you can instill, because you just impressed me so very much today? What can we do to change to pre-K universal rather than repeating?
Thank you so much for that question. The Alabama Department of Education, I'm so glad I got some curriculum background and some state, some central background, but the state of Alabama has, they have the Office of Early Childhood Education. And so that is the office that is charged with making sure that we have pre-K in more of our schools. Now, I do have 6 pre-K units at my school, and we are also, early childhood teachers across the state are also undergoing new training in early childhood science, in early childhood development. So we are learning new ways and getting training, but universal pre-K, that's gonna involve some senators, that's gonna involve a whole lot of money, a whole lot of stuff way above my pay grade. But I will assure you that at Brewbaker Primary School, our babies will be prepared. The Alabama Literacy Act law is one of the laws that I do provide training for across the state through the Alabama State University Regional In-Service Center with Dr. Evelyn Hodge and Dr. Asbury. Through those trainings, I have educated people throughout the state on what the Alabama Literacy Act law is, and it does state if your child is in public school and they cannot read proficiently by the end of 3rd grade on either a standardized state test or through a body of evidence like having like an IEP or special ed plan, or having some other plan in place to say that they don't have to satisfy these 3rd grade requirements, then that child will fail 3rd grade. That is the new law. Now you notice I said it is for public school children. So again, you've got state senators writing laws where possibly people in the education community who can kind of understand and lend themselves to, maybe that's not the best thing in the research to do right now. When you don't have all the people at the table and you don't consider unity and you aren't pulling everybody to the table, then you have gaps in questions like you have. We've dropped the ball on early childhood learning. That's the problem. Our kids can't read, we're catching them too late. At Brewbaker Primary School, our babies will be able to read. We've used artificial intelligence to fill that gap.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
That's what it's for. That's right on time. Ms. Moore, so, all right, here we go. We got another raffle for her book. Somebody up, that's why we're here, education. Deborah. Deborah here?
470148.
470148. You gotta be present to win, so let's go next. Nobody? Once, twice?
178.
Ain't not that.
687567.
What's the name?
80.
See out here? Oh, we got a winner! Yay! You get Ms. Josephine Bowens. Yes.
So we're gonna get a boy too, because her ticket was called.
Okay.
Administration for 4 years.
There you go.
5 years.
That's the hard part right there. Here's the actual yes. Y'all make sure y'all stop and talk to Ms. Josephine too at the networking segment. Hey, we're gonna get ready to go ahead and bring up the next speaker. My youth group, you know, y'all guys will have to adjust for just a minute. So, my next friend is basically epic, like literally, right? And so, he just came and did the ASU spring graduation ceremony, and I had to snatch him up. It's like he wasn't even here good, and I'm like, dog, I need you to come and give us some words of encouragement. And he literally was gonna lead off our inspirational series, but what we're gonna have now is our youth people. Mr. John, Miss Michelle, and Mr. Merle, they'll finish up after him, but we want to go ahead and get him in. He traveled in from Nashville, and he's one of those guys that, you know, I'm getting on a favor right now, but someday, you know, people gonna be paying him $10,000 to speak, and that's just the way I feel about it. But man, let's put our hands together for my good friend George Bandy Jr.
I want to call it Speedy. So I had prepared something, but I thought it would be more young people here. But I do have a couple things that I feel like I need to share with this audience. How many teachers are here, like educators, actual in the classroom educators, administrators? All right, appreciate it. So I want to talk to you about three things. I watched the news last night, and it was really disturbing to see how many young men were being lost in these streets. Kind of touched me in a different way because every kid that died was school age. And as I thought about it, you know, I grew up, I always tell people I'm right off of exit 62. Ended up making my way to an HBCU. Now Amazon pays me to educate those who can see me through a different scope.